My grandmother's name is Regina, but most people know her as Mammy. Now, I always wanted to be like Mammy whenever I grew up because she could not leave her house without running into 3 or 4 people that she knew out anywhere she went, and they were always so happy to see her, and she was always so happy to see them, and I wanted that for myself. She was also a very devout Baptist, and from a very early age, she taught me John 3:16, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, and whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life." And whenever I recited that, just like I did for you folks, she would give me candy. Needless to say, at Mammy's house, I got to eat a lot of candy. Mammy was also a practical jokester. Her favorite thing to do while she was talking to you would be to spit her dentures out into her hand and say, "Can you hold my teeth?" She actually has the record in our family for being the only member that can sneeze, fart, and shoot her teeth out of her mouth at the same time. But despite all of those really hilarious qualities about my Mammy, 3 months ago, she got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And the doctor said that there was not anything that they could do except make her comfortable. So 2 weeks ago today, I get a phone call from my mom that Mammy doesn't have very long to live and that I should be heading to Shepherdsville where she's staying. And so I get myself together and I go to my mom's house where Mammy is staying. And when I get there, there are cars all over the lawn, and I get inside and my entire family is there. All 5 of Mammy's children and their children and their children. All of us are in there together. Now, some of these people I haven't seen for a very long time because I don't know if you noticed or not, but I am the rainbow sheep of the family, okay? And because of that, I won't say that I got ostracized, but I was on the outer circle of the family because of that, right? And so the ideas of family for me were really confusing, and oftentimes being around them made me uncomfortable. Because what do you say to your cousin that you literally haven't spoken to in 7 years? Or to the aunt who refused to come to your wedding because she felt morally obligated to, protest your lifestyle, right? What do you do with that? And yet, every day for that week, I showed up every morning with bags full of groceries, and I went right into the kitchen and I started cooking for everyone because I figured if I can't connect with them anyway, I can connect in that way with food. I can do that. That's my job that I can do. And while I was doing that, my mom was listening diligently to the hospice nurse talking about the different medications that Mammy had to be on, and that she couldn't have ice cream, but that sherbet was okay. And while she was doing that, my Aunt Marcia and her daughter Leanne were turning Mammy in bed so that she would stay comfortable and not get bed sores. And while they were doing that, my Uncle Mike was making sure that Mammy's favorite gospel songs were playing through his iPod speakers right next to her bed. And we all took turns sitting with her and talking with her and saying the things we needed to say and making sure that she got whatever she wanted. And what she wanted was sherbet. She ate an entire gallon of sherbet by herself in 2 days. And I got to tell her that I wanted to be like her whenever I grew up. Now, while I was going through all of this stuff, those worries that I had about not fitting in with my family slowly started to seep away because my Uncle Donnie had brought out the Bud Light and we're passing them around and we were sharing old stories, and my cousin Andrew knew that I worked at a local brewery sometimes, and so he brought some craft beer and wanted to know my opinion about it. I forgot that my cousin Rebecca and I used to bond as kids over Stephen King movies, and so we started talking about that new show Castle Rock on Hulu, and my cousin Justin told me that he saw on Facebook that I really liked board games, and he had just gotten into Catan, and he would really like it if we could get together and play sometime. And it was in all of these things that I stopped and I thought to myself, is this what family is supposed to feel like? Because it had been so long that I had forgotten what family felt like, and it felt really good. Now, Mammy passed away 2 Saturdays ago, and we buried her this past Thursday in what I can only say is the most interesting funeral that I have ever been to, because, like I said, she was a trickster, and so my entire family decided to have a practical joke war at her funeral. Yes, that was the thing that happened. My cousin Chris ended up getting this border put on his license plate of his car that said "Pretty Pretty Princess" on it, and my cousins put a stink bomb underneath the gas pedal of my Uncle Donnie's car, and what's actually the funniest thing that happened is that earlier that day, my mom and her sister Judy had gotten together to get ready. Mammy had picked out these matching dresses for them that they had bought at Goodies. And somehow they had managed to get out of the store, and the security tags were still on the back. And they said, "Oh my God, you know what? We're going to wear them anyway," because that's what Mammy would have wanted to do. And so they wore these things, and I will be damned if every single person at that funeral, every single one, stopped them and said, "Did you know you have a security tag on the back of your dress?" And everyone said that that was Mammy's last practical joke on everybody. So this past Sunday, I got ordained as a deacon at Highland Baptist Church, and there's this thing, thank you. There's this thing that they do during your ordination ceremony called the laying on of hands, where you're sitting at the front, and one by one the congregation comes up and they place their hands on your shoulders, and they lean in your ear and they whisper either a blessing or a prayer or a congratulations. And I was surprised at how many people told me that they were so glad that they knew me, because anytime I was out with them, I would always introduce them to someone that they didn't know. And they told me that anytime that I walked into a room, it got brighter. And they told me that they were just so happy to know me because I always made them feel welcome wherever I was. And it was in that moment that I realized that I got exactly what I asked for, because they weren't just talking about me. They were also talking about my Mammy. Thank you.